Okay, so there's a famous Chinese proverb, 杜牧不姓林, or a single tree does not make a single forest. In other words, there's some things that we cannot accomplish on our own. Like a single tree, no matter how beautiful the tree is, or how tall the tree is, or how many leaves this tree has, it can never be a forest. All throughout high school, I was in choir. Now, I'm not a great singer, but I do know how to sing. And as much as I love to sing, and as decent as I am at singing, there are some things that it's impossible for me to achieve. There are some sounds that are impossible for me to achieve by myself, simply because there are some notes I can't hit, some harmonies, and you can't achieve a harmony on your own. It's very important for us to be a collective force, because we can achieve just like 20 times the amount that we can achieve on our own. Like a sports team, you can't achieve like the World Cup, or you can't achieve like winning the game because of one player. It has to be the whole team. Even just like the not as good players are supporting maybe the better players. Even these are important. So my father has this poster my father's an English teacher, and my father has this poster in his classroom. And on this poster it says, well, none of us are as dumb as all of us. So, while it is true we can't achieve things on our own, we also need to know how to work together collectively as a team to be productive. Because none of us are as dumb as all of us is a very true phrase. Because sometimes when we get together collectively as a group, we tend to be more stupid than we would on our own. So, I'd like to share on how we can find unity in our teams. And I remembered a story in the scriptures when the disciples of Jesus Christ, before they went to teach without Jesus, were fighting. And what they were fighting about, they were really embarrassed because Jesus came up to them to settle this dispute among them, and they were too embarrassed to admit that they were fighting about who was the greatest among them. This is an embarrassing thing to fight about. But Jesus said to them, he took a child and he said, even the least that you see before me shall be the best. And any of you that want to be the best shall serve the worst. In order to achieve team unity, in order to achieve this forest or achieve this choir, we have to look to those around us. And we have to support our fellow team members, just like this example. Think of Jesus, who was the literal Son of God. He was the literal Son of God. And he was the one who was saying these things to them. He took a child, a small child, and said these things to them. So my father is an English teacher, as I mentioned previously, and he always told me that the 4 greatest philosophers in the world were Buddha, Confucius, Socrates, and Jesus. So I thought I'd quote Jesus, first of all. Then I also thought I would quote Confucius. If you know who Confucius is, he was a Chinese philosopher. But he said, a superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds on his actions. In other words, we need to be humble, and we need to be honest and humble when we're in our teams, like Jesus was, so that we can better serve our fellow team members around us. I'd like to think again and reflect on this example of the scriptures. When Jesus took this child, you have to think these were disciples and they were being very prideful. He took this child and he said, you have to serve the least among you. And Jesus was the literal Son of God. What did he do as being his leader? He washed their feet. He got on their knees and he washed their feet. In order to develop unity in teams, we have to put our own pride aside, and we have to be humble before our peers, before our fellow men, and wash their feet. Thank you.